Good evening, and welcome to Key Radio Live, where we're talking about the summer vacation from hell.
Yep.
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 No, it's actually about Tomoyo After. I'm joined by Manpig and Hammiam tonight, who are both returning people, so I don't need to do much introductions. Yeah, because we could use some help. The three of us have very different ideas of what parts of this visual novel are good and what parts are not. So
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the idea. Quick note, we are going to be spoiling the entire thing. So if you have not read Tomoyo After, be aware that you may be spoiled on some things, and also all Clannad spoilers are fair game as well. So because I know I'm going to want to make some comparisons to After Story on how TA is better and also how it's really not. So
Yeah, because the thing about Tomoyo After is that it's controversial, but you can't talk about the controversial elements without spoiling the entire thing. So that's just why it's inevitable.
Yeah. So, I know we're all itching to get right into the ending stuff, but there is a whole bunch of other weird stuff before that, like the prologue. Obviously the weirdest part of the visual novel, but we should mention there are two versions of Tomoyo After. I call them the Steam version and the Steamy version.
That confuses me so fucking much.
So I should probably stop doing that. We'll just call it the Steam version and the R18 version, which is
the tolerable version and the intolerable version.
Yeah. The prologue is completely different in both versions, and in the Steam version, which is what most people play today and what you should play, you get these really stupid cosplay scenes.
It's actually kind of funny.
I don't like the humor.
Kind of funny.
Kind of funny.
I was trying to reread this before I came on. I was sitting there like, this is okay. Full disclosure, I haven't actually read the whole thing in years. Last time I fully read it was before Steam version came out.
So
I'm more familiar with the R18 version.
And I'm the opposite. I've read the Steam version, but I know about what's in the R18 version mostly, but I haven't read it.
I've read both. And I'm just going to definitively say here that the Steam version is better in every way.
Yeah,
you miss one well-written scene in that we'll talk about later, but it's still kind of in the Steam version. You just don't see it happening. So, but we'll get there. Prologue is weird. It's just a bunch of H scenes or a bunch of cosplays. The real stuff happens when Tomoya starts getting into all these fights. And I'm just gonna go out and say it here. What the fuck is the point of this arc?
It's a very, very weird arc. I guess the main thing is to show that it's Tomoya willing to stand up for his family and take Tomoyo's responsibilities, but why? What does this contribute? We've seen this in After Story.
I get that. I completely sympathize with that, but the thing is, we know reasonably from even watching an episode or two of the anime that Tomoyo can handle herself better than Tomoya can.
She can. She is strong.
That's, girl boss can do it. Why? But he doesn't even make a point to tell her. And that irks me a lot because it feels like he's keeping things from her for the sake of protecting his manly pride.
Well,
that's how it comes off to me.
She doesn't, it's pointed out that she really doesn't want to go back to that life at all for the most part. She's trying to get away from her past in that. So
I can
that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
So Tomoyo just doesn't want to. He doesn't want to bring up the past that she's trying to leave behind and make her come right back into it.
I can accept that as something, but the thing is, even if she's trying to leave that part of her life behind, I don't think she would hesitate to get into any kind of altercation with anyone if it meant protecting Tomo. because that's really what this is all about, is that the guys were threatening to come after Tomo. And we've kind of completely skipped over the whole crux of this story, which is Tomoyo's half-sister came back into their life via Takafumi and is living with Tomoyo and Tomoya in Tomoya's apartment. Why? I don't fucking know. But it's just kind of a thing that happened. Or at least we don't know at this point. We find out later.
Just a lot of coincidences.
Yeah, and also, we'll get later to how that's weird when we get into Tomo's arc, but
yeah,
I'm not into the fight scenes. I don't think they're entertaining. They're just kind of the same thing over and over again.
Like, one or two of them was fine, but from what I remember, they went on for so damn long.
Yeah, there's like
I
5 of them.
Yeah, there's 5 or 6 of them, pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't mind the arc. Full disclosure, I'm going to be the one who's trying to defend this the most, since I actually sort of like Tomoyo After. But that I remember, from what I remember, it went on for so long. It's like, all right, I get the point. Let's just fight the final guy and move on already.
Yeah. And eventually it does happen, and the guys all just leave. And we never see them again.
He just leave him all like, Tomoya's just like there. And he hits them like once. It's like, oh, you actually have a backbone. We'll just leave you alone from now on. And they just never brought him again. It's
there is
so weird.
Kaneko is... Yeah. There is a whole thing where Kaneko is trying to train him on how to fight.
Here's my question. Why the hell is Kaneko teaching Tomoya how to fight? We know Tomoya can fight.
That, and it's kind of just giving reason to something that doesn't need reason to be there. Like, this whole thing where all the guys are after Tomoyo matters literally nothing to the rest of the plot. It's interesting character development, but
it's basically like redoing a part of After Story that's done better in After Story.
What part are you talking about there?
Basically the part where Tomoya begins to like stand up for his family and like basically try to live, like set the foundation for him and Nagisa's life. That's what I feel like this is the same purpose. But here it's just fighting a bunch of people. And I get it. Yeah, I get it. It's to show that Tomoya cares for his family and wants to be able to provide for the person he loves. But we've seen this. Like, everyone who's seen Tomoyo After has seen Clannad After Story. And if you haven't, then why are you reading this?
Well, there are some people who read Tomoyo After immediately after Tomoyo's route before they read the rest of Clannad.
Okay, that's fair, but
I don't think that's the best time to read Tomoyo After. I think Tomoyo After, because I'm just going to say it, I love the ending. I think it's the perfect send-off to the franchise.
We'll talk.
We'll get there. We'll get there. But yeah, this whole thing is kind of weird. So we have this, which kind of just interrupts the interesting part of the family arc, and it's further interrupted when Tomoya gets into this typing competition with Takafumi.
I completely forgot about that.
I don't even remember that at all.
Yeah, there's the typing competition, which leads into the part where Takafumi is training to run track again, basically. So
basically, you first.
That's the whole thing here, where he's kind of going through each member of the family and kind of helping with their problems. So it's a forced route order, basically. First is Tomoya himself, then we go on to Takafumi and Kaneko and try and deal with their issues, both with themselves and each other.
Yeah.
I love this part. Love it.
Yeah. I've said in the previously that there's one part I actually like about Tomoyo After, and it's the only reason I don't actually rate it a 5 or lower. It's this arc because unironically, Takafumi is one of my like. I wouldn't say he's one of my favorites, but in terms of if there's like a hidden character that I don't think people talk about enough that I really like, it's Takafumi. Because I really relate to his kind of like arc and just that idea of being not being able to live up to expectations. And that kind of regret.
It does also hit a bit. Like the regret of, like, here's the whole thing with him and his coach. He got kicked off the track team because of his suicide attempt, which is, something that it's incredibly messed up, but it is something that he has to live with, that he lost a lot of opportunities with that.
I think it's partially a thing of the age because, like, when it comes to Japan society, they don't really see people as individuals as much as they do as like people who need to contribute to the society as a whole.
Just another cog in the clock.
Yeah, it's kind of like a toxic mentality, but like especially since Tomoyo After was made in like 2005, 2006.
05.
05, yeah. So it's a lot more present because Japanese society sees you as like sort of like a member that you have to work with, and if you like commit suicide or like attempt to do that, that's almost seen as like you're running away from your responsibilities and making other people have to take up your own responsibility. Even though Takafumi had to do it for his family, it's in a way selfish to his team, because that's how Japan sees everything. It's like you're a part of a team and you shouldn't fail that team. And Takafumi was part of a track team. He had people that cared for him, and to put them like in such shock can be in a way seen as selfish. Not that I agree,
get it.
But you can understand it kind of.
Yeah. Trying to understand the coach's mentality here, but the thing is, regardless of whether we agree on it or not, it is something that has majorly affected his life and something that he needed to overcome. And I think the way they did that is actually one of the more tasteful parts of the visual novel.
The only tasteful part of the visual novel.
I would not go that far, but so Cold says that was the best part by far, and I can respect it, and I kind of sort of agree.
I fully agree.
Yeah.
Cole, you have such good taste. I'm so proud of you.
I legitimately forgot the whole part about trying to commit suicide.
Really?
Again, I gotta reiterate this. The last time I fully read Tomoyo After was like a year or two before the Steam version came out, which was in like 15, right?
16. We got the Steam release.
So 14 is
so about 7 years ago. We can reasonably estimate. That's a long time.
That's
read it.
That's longer than some of the people here who have been Key fans. So
yeah, like me.
My last read was early 2021. So about a year and a half ago, I finally went and read the Steam version. So
I think it's the same. Yeah. Or no. I was a bit earlier. But
you were a bit earlier than me.
Yeah, I read it about the same time because I remember I read it when I was in my Key binge. Yeah. Got it.
I read it in the middle of mine too, immediately after Clannad and immediately before Rewrite. So
yeah.
The shit thing for me is whenever I was first getting into Key, it just wasn't available for a lot of the shit.
Right, because
what was available for me was the anime. The anime versions of most of these.
Well, you watched Angel Beats when it aired, right? Or shortly after?
2012. Summer 2012, so 2 years after I found.
So you and I got into Key at around the same time, because I got into it when the Little Busters anime aired. That was my introduction.
That was like 2 years after, though.
Nope. It was...
Oh, no, I'm thinking Refrain. Yeah.
Fall of 2012, Little Busters anime started. It was the year after I graduated high school.
So
Just-
Yeah, but no, the thing is, for me, I was reading what I could at the time.
Yeah.
I could just barely find. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say I could barely find a pirated version of Clannad, because that's all that was available for me.
Right. No one's gonna import a physical from Japan. So
actually for the time.
Yeah, and then Tomoyo is my favorite Clannad character. So I was like, oh, there's a Tomoyo After. I'm gonna read that, and I just hadn't read it. I finished it. I was like, well, that sort of sucked at the end, but I liked it.
yeah.
Yeah, Tomoyo, it was the whole point of like Tomoyo After is because Tomoyo was a fan favorite and people wanted to see more of her.
She
'cause they
was
felt the story.
in the 10th anniversary poll, she was more popular than Nagisa.
Yeah.
Just let that speak for.
Yeah, she was the
Admittedly, I
fan
probably
favorite.
would have preferred a Kyo After story rather than Tomoyo one.
The problem with Kyo is that, like, I would have preferred that too. Kyo is my favorite Clannad girl. The problem with her, though, is that there's just not enough substance to something you could do with it. You know, like Kyo's route ends right when the relationship starts. It's really about her route is about the love triangle. It's not
Yeah.
about the relationship. Whereas
Yeah.
Tomoyo's is definitely more about the relationship. So
Yeah. We're getting on a bit of a tangent, but I'd like to just finish.
it's
the
not a
Kyo
Key Radio Live episode without tangents.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the final thing I'll say on a Kyo After is that I feel like a Kyo After would have been a good chance to introduce a new element to Kyo's character.
I definitely would have enjoyed that too.
Yeah, exactly. But back to the only good arc of Tomoyo After.
I do want to mention one other thing though that kind of relates to what we were talking about, and this is the one Tomoyo After criticism that I just think is straight up wrong. Manpig, I'm sorry if you feel this way. There are plenty of people who read Tomoyo After and think that it butchered Tomoyo's character, and I just think that is stupid.
No.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, okay, so we're all in agreement there. The story's got problems, don't get me wrong, but
If anything, I think they butchered Tomoya's character, especially in the
that I
R18
would agree
version.
with.
Yeah, I can
In
agree
the
with
R18 version specifically, like the
Yeah,
Steam version
that I
fixed
would
it a
agree
lot
with.
because the R18 version is. Oh, I hate it. I hate
They
it.
make him gross, you
They
know?
make him so gross. Oh,
He's
I
so
really
gross.
I
Like,
hate it.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
But
Tomoyo herself.
titties.
Tomoyo herself is, yeah, she's mellowed out in Tomoyo After versus how she is in the common route of Clannad, but that's the whole point to her route in Clannad.
Yeah, she's matured. She's growing
Exactly.
up.
She's
no
older,
longer
yeah.
the hot-headed, angsty teen that she was.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's calming down and settling down for a new life, and I think that's the point. It's Tomoyo after the things she went through in the Clannad itself.
Yes.
Yeah. So I
All
think it's
right.
a natural progression for her character.
All right. Oh my God, something all three of us agree on. That's
That's
insane.
crazy. That's crazy. Though I will have to say that's not a plus. That's not a positive. I'd say that's pretty standard if you're making a sequel. So don't say that this is the second good thing about Tomoyo After. No, I expect this from a sequel.
No, it's the second
No.
good
I
thing.
won't forgive the issue.
It's the second good thing.
we were not going through this podcast without me not confirming that the Takafumi is the only good thing about this.
It's the second good thing, Manpig. Just accept it.
Just
No.
Yeah, accept it.
All right, so off the tangent now. Takafumi Conical arc is good. It's
the only good part.
and
I'll
then
keep
we
saying it.
yeah, we get into like, okay, we're done taking a break from Tomo's story and we really get into it. So I want to talk a little bit about Tomo's character. She's 5 years old, Tomoyo's half sister, and her whole thing is that she was just dropped off to Tomoyo's family by her mother, Yuko. Now, Yuko, as we find out later in the whole Tomo village arc, that's like the crux of the story that we're going to get into now. As we find out in the Tomo village arc, Yuko is dying. She is dying from. It's a
Mystery.
mysterious illness that basically, but the way they present it is that it's basically ALS.
I don't
Your-
know what that is.
Your limbs stop working basically, and then you just die. You
Right.
slowly stop being able to move. It's a very slow, painful disease.
It's what
That's
Stephen
horrible.
Hawking's had.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
So they do a, and they don't name it here because 2005. I don't know if they knew what it was, but that's the
They knew
symptoms
what it
presented.
was. They just didn't have a They had what's the other name for it? Can't remember.
I can't either. I didn't know there was another name for it.
It's Lou Gehrig's disease.
Oh, right. I know what
Yeah,
you're
that-
talking about.
Yeah, that's what they call it, Lou Gehrig.
So the
Yeah.
symptoms they present for Yuko, that's basically what they're trying to say. I'ma just say it. Yuko is extremely selfish.
Yeah. Like, you have a responsibility as a parent. Like, even if it was technically, and how do I put it kindly? An accident?
Illegitimate.
Illegitimate. That's the better word.
Yeah.
Even if it was an illegitimate child, you have a responsibility, and we are shown that Yuko does love Tomo. She cares for her as her parent, but it's put in the way that her way of showing her love is separating herself from Tomo, and that's wrong. That's just wrong. That's not right. Like,
Regardless, that's not even the biggest issue I have with Yuko's actions here. The biggest issue I have is that she tries to hide it from Tomo.
oh yeah,
She just specifically tries to hide what she's doing. And then you have this whole thing where they go to the village, which is basically just a village in rural Japan where people basically go to die. It's very cult
Morbid.
town-esque.
it's
Where
morbid.
it's completely self-sustained and everything.
Yeah.
And Yuko goes there. Tomoya and Tomoyo track them all down. They bring Kaneko with them and to try and convince Yuko to come back. And Tomoya is trying to convince Yuko not even trying to convince Yuko to leave the town, trying to set up a school to bring Tomo to the town. And I just think that, and Tomoyo hates this idea. I am 100% on Tomoyo's side here. The VN doesn't want me to be, but I am because I think that
Tomo deserved like a proper like upbringing, like logically. I get from the story is that she loves her mom and it'd be happier for her to stay with her mom, but at the same time, if her mom passes away, then what is she gonna do?
Not just that I can accept. It's imagine this scenario, because this is the only scenario that kept going on in my head as I read this section. They decide to bring Tomo to the town after building the school and introduce Tomo to Yuko, and Yuko turns away from her. Does not want to see her child, and just saying straight up to a 5-year-old that your mother doesn't love you. That's a real risk.
That's a risk, and that is a risk, and that would suck.
It would suck, and I don't think it's far-fetched to say that could happen. So
it's not. Now you say that, it's really not. Oh God, what? This story is a mess.
yeah. Hammy, how do you feel about this part? Do you remember this enough?
I remember something about a school and then stuff happens.
Yeah.
What I will say is that it's probably the best Tomoya moment. Like, remove the context of the whole thing that this is a huge risk. I like the fact that they're showing how Tomoya is able to use the little skills he has to try and work for a goal. Even if that goal is questionable, as you have outlined, I really like the fact that they're trying to show him. He's accurate to his character in that he's willing to work hard for the sake of other people, despite the shortcomings he has as a person, which is
And
good
I can appreciate that, if not for the fact that After Story did it better.
Yeah, and I can say that for the rest of Tomoyo After, but it's still a point.
Well, no, I'm going to be fair here. There are some things that Tomoyo After does better than After Story. Like,
No, there aren't.
Oh, here we go. Let me get the popcorn.
All right.
No, they're not. Yeah, go, Cole, go.
All right, hear me out. Hear me out on this, okay?
No. I'm joking. Go ahead.
All right, so Tomoyo After, in spite of all the questionable decisions being made, this is a broken family that really, really does care about each other. And here's the thing. I'm not necessarily saying that makes it better than After Story, but it does make Tomoya's job here harder than the first half of After Story, because After Story has some constants. You have Sanai and you have Akio, who are two of the most reliable characters in Clannad.
Okay.
In Tomoyo After, we have no one like that. So it makes sense that these kids who are kind of just figuring shit out on their own are not necessarily going to make the best decisions. I can forgive it a little bit.
That is fair, and I can understand that. That's as far as I'm gonna go. Because
I'll take it, you know.
I can understand that. It's like, yes, they have less. They are more of a broken family. They don't have the best parents in the world to support them.
Exactly.
And moreover, is it wrong to say that in Tomoyo After especially, the Tomoya and Tomoyo seem to have like this sort of distance that Nagisa and Tomoya never really had, or like different ways of handling things? Is that right to
definitely
say? Especially because like the entire point of the village arc was that they disagreed very, very evidently and handled the situation with Tomo very differently.
And I loved that, you know, it felt realistic to me. Because here's the thing with Tomoya and Nagisa, there's no conflict in their relationship. And while, it's sweet, I don't... It doesn't make for a good role model relationship in a way, because they never discuss how to handle conflict, because there isn't any.
I disagree in that it's a bad role model. I think finding someone that's like able to be there for you is the most important. But I guess I can see your point. But I'd argue that's not really the point of Key. Is that you're not trying to be like, oh, let's watch these people argue and try to come to a conclusion.
At the same time, Lucia, you're also going on. It's Key. It's not supposed to be super realistic.
Fair.
Exactly.
It's supposed to be
exactly.
Supposed to be idealistic.
Yeah, exactly. It's meant to inspire reality. It's not meant to reflect it, as I keep saying.
E-girls are caricatures, basically, of certain personality traits. And that's, you know, Tomoyo is definitely one of those. And I don't mean that in a bad way. You know, it's like that's how we are able to get lessons from these characters. So yeah, I can get that. It's the kind of thing where, like, I'm not trying to say that TA is better than After Story, because it's not. But there are different lessons to be had here that After Story does not cover. So
I can agree. I can agree with that. But it's not.
Doesn't make it fun to read.
It's not fun to read, and I don't like it.
I don't know. I think the whole village arc just feels problematic in many ways to me. I'm sorry.
Okay, what I will say is that it's a good idea, executed horribly.
I just think that they didn't consider one of the most likely options.
They really didn't. And as much as I love the consistency that Tomoya is able to put everything into a goal, I do think he really should have thought it more. He should have thought through it more, because that was a very big risk he made. And especially when when I already forgot her name. The mom was just so adamant on not meeting her daughter. It's just like, do you really think this is gonna change them? Do you really think that?
Now, there is, and I mentioned this during my replay, there is a way that they could have completely fixed this whole thing. In that instead of building the school, what if Tomoya's goal was to get Yuko out of the town?
See, that would be one thing, but
I think that
work?
would make the entire arc so much better, because if they manage to get Yuko out of that town, they have a lot more confirmation on how the reunion between Yuko and Tomo would go.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. Yeah.
So
I could see that, but at the same
that's
time,
how I would change it.
at the same time, would you really convince her to get out? I don't know how I would.
I don't know.
It's
It's
just messed up by concept. I think the main issue is how adamant they made Yuko act in this. Like, she is just so like
she really does not want to meet Tomo, and
yeah.
it's because she's afraid. Oh, sure, I can accept that, but it's still selfish.
That's your daughter. That's your daughter. You're even shown that you love your daughter. Why are you acting like this? This isn't how any respectable parent should be acting.
Yeah, Cold says Yuko in concept is too flawed to have a satisfying result, and I do kind of agree with that. I think there was no way that they were going to get this character right.
Oh, I fully agree with it. I just think the issue is that she's made way too adamant, but also made to like see that she's presented. She's told to us that she cares, but she's not shown to care. That's the you don't do that.
It's writing 101, yeah. So TLDR, the way this whole arc ends is that they eventually bring Tomo to the town, and there's the reconciliation, and Tomo enrolls in the school that they built, and everyone's happy until they're not. Now, Hammy and I have read the R18 version, Manpig, and you know about the changes, but for those who haven't read that version, I'm just going to mention it here. Before we get into After Arc, which is the real controversial part of this visual novel, in the R18 version, the original version of this VN, you have the reconciliation between Tomo and Tomoyo and Yuko, and the very next line is Tomoya waking up in the hospital with the mind of a sexually confused middle schooler. None of the transitional content in the Steam version is there in the original.
I hate the original script with a passion.
Yeah.
So it ruins like my favorite part of Clannad.
It was very jarring for me. Ham, was it jarring for you?
Oh, Cole, you don't even know the worst of it, Cole. You don't even know.
Yeah, no, I just remember going into this like, what the fuck is going on?
They ruined him.
I was so no, let me finish.
Go ahead.
I was going from that. I was like, okay, where are we going with this? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh hey, this is going on now. There's what is this? Why is Tomio like this? Hey, why is Tomio like this? What the fuck happened? What? There's no explanation at all. It's like, what the fuck happened? Who thought this was a good transition?
I guess they were going for shock value.
Yeah, but it didn't pay off.
Shock value sucks.
Now, Key has, and not specifically Key, Maida has done shock value better than this.
Definitely.
The opening moments of Refrain, specifically.
Oh yeah,
I can't talk about because we're not going to talk Little Buster spoilers here, but
yeah, that is an example of shock value that's done good.
Yes.
Yeah, but this just wasn't it. Like they quite literally, they honestly just tore apart like one of the most respectable. Like the entire point of Tomoya was that he's he's a rough around the edges guy, but he's a nice person at heart, and he can care. Why would you turn him into a hentai protagonist? Like, I get it. I get it. You need to have H scenes, but come on.
Oh,
Come on, it's so out of character.
Don't
And
get
these
me
H
wrong.
scenes are disgusting.
okay. I'm gonna go back to Tomo arc for a sec. The H scene in that arc is fine because it's plot relevant. You know, the one where Tomoyo basically manipulates Tomoya into stop building the school by showing him her tits.
God,
And
I
it-
hate it.
And
I
you
hate it
can
all.
you have a choice there. You could either decide not to do it and keep building the school, or you can pick the H scene and you get a bad end for it.
Uh,
Cold. Oh, well, that just sounds spectacular.
I hate the 18 plus version with a passion. Like that. That is just
I
awful.
like that H scene. The one in After Arc pisses me
don't.
off.
I don't
Like-
like any of them. Like the first few, like the first few are out of place, but they're at least like inoffensive at worst. But like like
Yeah.
after that, it just genuinely becomes like It becomes manipulation and like
That's
taking
exactly what
advantage
it
of
is.
people. And
That's
I hate
exactly
that
what
with
it
a
is.
passion. That's not
And
how you
that-
handle sexual conflict, especially in a keyword. Why is
I-
this in key?
Why is it in key? I don't know. But the thing is, it does show Tomoyo's desperation to get him to stop. Domi, how can this be an actual thing?
That's still not how you handle it.
I love how he's in the background going fucking venting.
It's genuinely disgusting. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
So, anyway, back to After Arc. The Steam version has some new transitional content where they leave the town and go back to their normal lives, but Tomoya basically starts having dizzy spells all the time, and then eventually he faints, and then we wake up. That transitional content makes a world of difference because it foreshadows what is about to happen in After Arc really well. Yet, for people who read the Steam version first, shoutouts to Icy here, because he was telling me a little bit about his playthrough, he still didn't see it coming. But then in
I didn't see it
retrospect,
coming.
he
I
could
didn't
see
see
how
it.
it was foreshadowed.
The thing is, I didn't see it coming either, and I'd argue it shouldn't have happened at all.
So,
And I've only read the Steam version because I refuse to watch the 18 plus version just because I've seen
No,
enough
it's
of
not
the
worth it.
version. It's not worth it. And I see the Steam version, and when that arc happened, I was like, what the fuck? Where did we get, how did we get here? What is happening? Oh, I hate this. I hate the ending. I hate the ending so fucking much. I'm just gonna start swearing now because I can't stop. I'm just pissed
no,
off.
do what you gotta do. Well, as soon as I became the main host of Key Radio Live, swearing became allowed. That's
just do a Pico Pico.
I'd probably do an Ugu. I have 86 Ugus just sitting on my
Okay.
computer.
Oh.
So,
no.
all right, I'll play devil's advocate for the ending here, and not even that. I actually do legitimately like it because
You're wrong.
I-
But okay.
I'm not going to definitively say I'm right though. I do think that when you actually foreshadow what's happening and you don't have to see the H scenes, you get a lot deeper look at how strong Tomoyo actually is. You know, we actually get to see how far she will go for Tomoya in spite of all of the other characters not being there. Because the whole thing that happens, just to reiterate, with Tomoya's illness is that he's in a loop, basically, where he's living the same week over and over again, and every time he faints, at the end of the week, his memory resets. So he has to learn over again for like 300 loops or so that he injured his shoulder and can't play basketball anymore, that he is dating Tomoyo, that he lives alone and not with his dad, that he and his dad are not on good terms, that he already graduated high school, all this stuff that's just completely news to him. And it's happening over and over and over again. And through all of these loops, Tomoyo sticks around. Takafumi and Kaneko don't stick around. They're there for the first couple, but
I don't get.
would you?
Hmm?
Would you stick around for that?
I
For
wouldn't
that?
stick around for that, but story-wise, I don't think it's good because I don't like stories that forget characters exist. Like that's
It's
just
not
me.
forgetting they exist, though. It's a strategic move that they were left out.
It's even then, I'm just not a fan of that idea in general.
Mhm.
Like that's just not what I like. Especially when you introduce the cast, you just cut them out. Like it's just unsatisfying. I understand why it happened. I'm just not a fan of it by concept. I don't like that kind of thing. Like if you have a cast, use it. Because
Hammy,
like
is that kind of your thoughts too?
Just for me, I just don't get why they were. Now that you're saying that, I sort of get it, but at the same time, it's like it was completely unnecessary. I just don't like the whole concept. Because all I can think of whenever I hear about it now is the movie 50 First Dates, the Adam Sandler movie.
I haven't seen.
I
that.
haven't seen that.
Okay, so essentially it's that last arc, but forever. Yeah, Adam Sandler.
Oh, that sounds.
But it builds it around that whole concept from the beginning, so it makes sense in context there.
It's
Okay.
not it. So it's not giving it to you right at the end and expecting you to enjoy the shock value.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It goes
that's
around.
better.
It goes around. Adam Sandler meets a girl who's already going through this, and the girl's parents.
Okay, that's a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the girl's parents are like, "Hey, this is the deal. Don't try to get involved with her," but he does anyways, and he
Mhm.
tries to work through it. So every week, no, actually, I think it's every day. I don't remember. Hold on.
This
That
I
sounds
actually,
really cool,
week,
actually.
every week or every day, her memory gets reset, and he has to go from, "Hey, I'm just some random person you never met," to, "Hey, we're married."
okay. The thing is, I want to. The thing is, that's actually an idea I have seen in another visual novel. That's key-like. I've read it, and
Visual novel.
I don't want to say it because by saying it, I spoil the fact that it happens because we know that this happens. It's meant to be a
Okay.
twist in that. So I'm just gonna say there is a key-like visual novel that I have talked about here before that has done this exact concept, and that I think it does it a lot better than Tomoyo After did, personally.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's not
Okay.
it's not a masterpiece. I'd say it's like an 8 out of 10 route, but I enjoyed it a lot more, and I thought as a story it was a lot more engaging. So yeah,
I will
don't
not deny that the way the ending is presented is not, it did not make me feel very good. You know, it is not done in a way that is super engaging. I was not excited about the shock value like I was in a certain other visual novel that is not by Key, which I've talked about here
many times.
pretty recently. So I wouldn't say many times, but a few times. But
Okay.
it's not the one you're reading now. If that's
Okay,
what
I thought it was. Okay.
No,
let's ignore that.
that's something totally different from TA.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's not meant. But I know it's not meant to make me feel good because there are some sources that say that Maeda did not want to write the ending he did for Clannad. And we're not going to get too deep into Clannad's ending on this episode because that can be a whole series of podcasts by itself. But
No, it's not. It's so controversial.
it's another controversial ending that Maeda has gone on record saying he didn't really want to write, and there are people who speculate that Tomoyo After is the kind of ending he did want to write.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of it personally. That's just me.
I don't know. I quite like the ending we got for Clannad, so.
I do too.
No, I like the ending of Clannad.
The anime ending was confusing, but once I read the visual novel, I was like, okay, now it's making more sense.
Yep. I'm 100% behind you.
I said it before, but I like the ending of Clannad a lot. Like either way, it's just so Like, I understand if Maeda didn't want to do it, but I disagree with that. Like just personally.
This is some speculation here.
Yeah.
I don't want to definitively say what Maeda did or did not want to do unless it comes straight from his mouth. But there's a lot of speculation about it, and we do know that he was told to write Clannad's ending a certain way because of how controversial Air's ending was.
Yeah.
I think Air has one of the best endings in Key. So
I think I can respect that a lot because I think Air does
I just
an
really
emotional
like Air.
roller coaster. It's a really good ending, I'd say. It's like that kind of ending, it's done the best in Air. And I feel like Tomoyo After is like it tried to do what Air did, but it didn't do it good at all.
Well, because Air does not rely on any kind of shock. You know where it's going pretty early, and it's just a slow ride to get there. Tomoyo After tries to be surprising with its ending, and it just ends up pissing off a lot of people. Now,
yeah, and I'd also argue that Air's a lot more beautiful in what it does because it shows that in spite of what's happening, you can still find so many beautiful things, and I think that is so much more powerful compared to Tomoyo After's.
Well, Tomoyo
Can I say a
After's-
train wreck? I hate this.
Go ahead, Ham.
I mean, it would be apt. I like Tomoyo After, but to describe anything other than a train wreck would be fucking...
Yeah, it's a mess of a visual novel. The ending's message, I do think, is quite beautiful, especially when you think about what life is like a melody the ED is trying to say here. You know, you get this whole section at the end with Tomoyo at the typewriter actually talking to the reader, saying, you can overcome anything, and it's not necessarily going to be easy, but when you love somebody, it's not like that really matters. Cold says Tomoyo After did not deserve to have an ending that good. It was so undeserved. And this is Utori's point of view here, that the ending, like, even for those who like the ending, it's just not very believable because they don't believe very much in Tomoya and Tomoyo's relationship. Cold, is that kind of your take here?
I think it is. I'm pretty sure. I remember them saying something
more or less.
Before.
Okay.
But here's my personal opinion. I just don't like the idea that they're doing this after essentially butchering Tomoyo, and like they don't show it up. Can I say the K word? Can I say the K word here?
Sure.
They don't show it off, but they kill him off. Why? Why? That pissed me off. That made me so angry. I was like,
now. Is he dead? Did he actually die at the end?
In the R18 version, I'm pretty sure they confirmed that he passed away.
They
in the manga version,
they strongly implied it.
In the manga version, they confirmed it, and I think in the Steam version, which is the revised version, they made it as vague as humanly possible.
Well, the way they did that is because the Steam version, which is the Memorial Edition, for those of you who are reading in Japanese, they added a new CG.
They added a new scene at the end.
CG with Tomoya and Tomoyo as old people on the beach. That CG is not in the original version, but it kind of gives a glimmer of hope at the end. The title screen theme music is called Hope, that maybe things could have worked out for the two of them. I think it's a better ending.
They made it as vague as possible, but the thing is, at least for me, when I read it, I was like, "Oh, totally."
Okay.
Like this. I saw this is my personal interpretation because I don't know. This is what I took, and the feelings that I have from this, I still carry to this day. When I saw that, I was like, a glimpse, like a tease of an ending that should have happened but didn't, and it pissed me off all the more. I was like, "Why did you kill off my food? Do you know what you've done?" I don't like this ending. I don't like this ending.
Oh my god.
Manpig getting heated is really funny. You notice I'm not a big fan of this visual novel either. It didn't piss me off quite that much.
I feel like I'm on the shambles race right now. Shameless plug, but
Oh, thank God Takafumi exists, so I don't have to give this thing a horribly negative score.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Takafumis, thoughts.
The best part of the visual novel. It's grindy as fuck, though.
I
Never
really
played it.
like it. I really like Dungeons and Takafumis.
Crazy
so
how
stupid.
everything good with Tomoyo After relates to Takafumi in some way. That's absolutely nuts. It's almost like he carries this thing on his back.
It's not even the best side RPG in a key visual novel, but because Rewrite exists, I still like it.
I don't think I played it because I just couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, to be fair, most people kind of just ignore it. But it is funny. It got Tomoyo After put on sale for the Steam RPG sale, which I just find really funny.
That's pretty funny, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we've been at this an hour. Is there anything else that we really need to talk about here? It's, I'm trying to go through all the summer works for this summer leading up to Loopers, which we're going to start the book club next episode, actually. And Tomoyo After is technically a summer work. I call it the summer vacation from hell. It's a mess, but it's a mess with a beautiful ending, if you're me. So it's got a nice message, even if the execution is all over the place.
Lucia, the only thing I have to say is never invite me to one of these unless it's Angel Pizza.
You were on the Kaginato one where we talked about Angel Beats and
okay, Kaginato is a different story though. But if you want me to actually talk about in-depth stuff, Angel Beats is really the only thing I'm worth a damn on.
Well, we'll get there.
If we ever do a First Beat podcast,
oh yeah, like that's
I've got to be there.
You are required.
I might bring Domi with me.
Oh, absolutely. So, what'd you guys rate this, VN?
Like the latest possible 6 I could possibly give because I
gotta give it on.
A lot.
I know I put it on VNDB. What did I give it? I don't remember.
I gave it
a 6 on. I actually gave it a 6.
Wait, you gave it a what, Ham?
I gave it a 6.
Oh, wow. Okay. The ending killed it that much for you, huh?
No one likes this visual novel.
I gotta to quote Tristan Gallant from Glass Reflection. The ending is paramount. It's the last thing you get left with, and if the ending is shit, it's just gonna leave you.
Probably why I rated it higher than both of you.
It's just sad because I like this more than you.
Yeah, I know. It says a lot that the ending can really make or break this story. All I have to say about it is that if you're on the fence about it, give at least the ending a second look and try and look at it for its message, because even if you hate it, there is something to be had there. Just not in the R18 version.
I will
read the R18 version. It's so funny.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Like, okay.
Tell me our titties.
They are nice.
They are very nice. They're nice and fluffy.
Read this for the Takafumi arc. You can stop just there. You can stop there.
just to elaborate one more time. Whenever I read this, I was still in high school. So
I just want to say that this was a very nice therapy session. I was really happy I finally got to let all of this frustration out. Scream about it, yeah, because I've kept this in me for like 2 years, and I've never had anyone to just shout at just how like frustrated that ending made. It has genuinely because I'm like, compared to you two, if I call it correctly, I am much more of like a Clannad fan. I am one of those people that swears by it. I love it. I love
Hammy loves Clannad.
Okay, Ham, you're my ally. Then. You're my ally.
Yeah. I'm not Lucia with shit takes.
Hey, I mean it's true, but still.
Like
Look,
this is how you recognize if I like something, if Lucia likes something. Do I think it's trash? Lucia probably likes it.
I like Oraimo.
Oh god, let's not
Case
talk
in
about
points.
that. Let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that. So, what
It was funny. I just said that at random. I was like, "Yep, he likes it. I knew it. Called it."
yeah. Let's not
All right,
talk
let's wrap
about
this
that,
up.
but yeah.
Yeah, all right. So if you're here, you've already read the visual novel. It's worth a second look. That's Key Radio Live for you. Next week we will be getting into the best summer key work. Loopers. We'll have our little speculation and hype episode to kick off the book club next Sunday, and then 2 weeks from there on June 12th we'll discuss all the spoilers for Loopers. So, and then after that, more summer fun to come. Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.